You mentioned Noam, you mentioned Sarah Huckabee Sanders. It sounds like you were partial to the view that Trump would want to go with someone who's been fairly loyal. Now, one of the things that has been kind of curious to me about Trump is, and I've lost money betting on this, but I would have thought that someone like Trump, who has such an ego and is so sensitive, would be very partial to people who are loyal. But I think that what we've seen for the totality of Trump's kind of right from when he was a candidate in 2015 through his presidency is that I've always been surprised the extent to which he actually has been forgiving of people with different loyalties, with criticism. And it seems over and over again that he has actually slighted people who have been very loyal to him and instead gone for people who are neutral, maybe even who have been critical of him. And then obviously, once they criticize him at a certain point, he'll turn on them. But the point is, like, he picked Mike Pence, even though Pence had, I believe, endorsed Ted Cruz. You look at his cabinet, I mean, a lot of them were people who were not especially sympathetic to him. On the other hand, a lot of people who were loyal to him and on the campaign with him did not end up getting meaningful positions in his administration. So it's almost like it's not loyalty that he rewards, but rather he actually relishes the idea of winning people over who are critics of him. So, I mean, how do you just think about Trump's psychology in terms of does he in fact really care about loyalty, or if not, why would the VP pick be different?
I think he values loyalty, especially when it's somebody who was disloyal to him in the past. If he can get somebody to be loyal to him that was perceived as being disloyal in the past, I think that's something that he treasures. He likes to have that validation of feeling like he's won somebody over. Also, you look at what he did with the Attorney General Barr. I mean, that was somebody who was considered a moderate, somebody who nobody ever would have thought that he would become attorney general, but he writes a memo very much supportive of one of President Trump's legal battles. And next thing you know, he's the attorney general. And, we've seen that in a couple of circumstances. I mean, I don't think I think to your point, the John Bolton pick was kind of a head scratcher because a rational person would never think that John Bolton would be a good fit in the Trump administration. And then Trump brings him in because he likes what he says on TV and thinks, hey, I want a tough guy like this. Bolton gets in and then he ends up getting fired. So I do think there's a degree of Trump having such confidence in himself, being able to win people over, that he does pick some people that have maybe slighted him in the past. But when you look at Nikki Haley or some of the other candidates that are running against him now, these are people who at one point were loyal to him and then became disloyal. I think that puts him in a different category. I mean, the fact that Nikki Haley worked in his administration and then now is kind of stabbing him verbally in the back with her campaign, that's what he perceives. I don't think she ever can get that. I don't think he'll ever get over that. I mean, look at Mike Pence too. Mike Pence is very loyal during the administration up and refused to take orders on whether to accept electors, and not only was never forgiven, but basically he's been driven from the party, and he's persona non grata.